G'day fellas, how are you going? Have you had a shitty day? Has it been one of those times in which no matter what you do, the world just seems to crumble around you, everything's against you, and it's not even your fault? Or maybe it is your fault, and no matter what you think about, you can't help but hate yourself or just feel really bad about yourself because of something really crappy that you did. Now, the bottom line is you feel terrible and you don't know what to do about it. So, if this sounds like you, pay attention to this video. I want to show you a 3-step process and how you can turn something really negative, a really terrible situation, and turn it into something that's actually quite positive, and turn it into something that you can actually feel good about and even laugh about by the end of it. So, sit back, pay attention, let's go. So I'm actually sitting recording this video on the floor of a hotel room which is next to the Sydney airport because my flights back home actually got cancelled. And it has been a bit of a topsy-turvy weekend for me, this one. It started off with me actually sleeping in, missing my flight and having to fork out a lot of money just to catch the next flights down to the convention. Some things happened at the convention which I made a few mistakes which led to quite a few unfavourable situations. And, to top it all off, I'm sitting by myself in a hotel room instead of catching the next flight home and sleeping in my own bed. And I had a chat to a few friends, just giving them a call just to pass the time. And a lot of them, they asked me and they said to me, how are you so happy? Like, you actually sound okay with this, because it sounds like it's a very frustrating situation. It sounds like, I'd be angry, I'd be grumpy, I'd be really upset by it. And I actually had to sit down and have a think about it, because it's obviously not something that has always come naturally to me. It's not something that has been something where you have a bad situation, all the world's against you, and you kind of make it something which, it's actually not so bad, and you actually have a laugh of it by the end of it. So I actually had to sit down, have a think about it, and I thought to myself, wow, that's actually something I can talk about, because it's not something that comes naturally. It is kind of a bit of a process that I've had to develop over the years as a bit of a mindset. So what I actually wanted to talk about in today's video was how this mindset works. It's like a 3-step process in which you have a bad situation or the world's against you, whether it might be a life thing, whether it might be something to do with cosplay where you have a bad day at a convention, or you spend a lot of time making something and it just doesn't work out. You feel like you've wasted your time, you've wasted your money, you wasted a lot of energy into a project. And whatever the world throws at you, however negative it might be, you can really reframe it into a way in which you actually learn something from it. It becomes something positive and something you can actually laugh about by the end of it. So that's what I want to explain in today's video, the 3-step process of how to turn a negative situation into something quite positive. So stick around, show what it's all about. Okay, so the first step in this kind of mindset shift of turning things from a negative to a positive is we always get the thought when something bad happens to us, we always think, poor me, why does this happen to me? Oh, why have I got such the worst luck? Or, why? It's always just, why do these bad things happen to me? And we always end up feeling sorry for ourselves, we feel grumpy at the world, and it feels like it's completely out of our control, right? And the first step is to, instead of thinking, why me, poor me, think instead, what can I learn from this? So again, instead of thinking, why does this happen to me, think, what can I learn from this? Now, the biggest benefit in actually doing this is, instead of thinking things like, oh, I couldn't do anything now, the world's against me, that could possibly be the case. But in a lot of circumstances, whether or not we had the power to control it, there is something that we can get from it. So in the case where it is our fault, the first thing is being able to acknowledge that we had a role in it, or being able to acknowledge that yes, I did have something to do with this, it was in my power, and yes, I did make a mistake. It is a good thing to own up to it. It's a good thing to say, look, I've stuffed up, I've made a mistake, but what can I do about it from here? So it might be something where you were disorganized for something, like myself, I slept in and missed the plane, I slept through some alarms, or you might have said something hurtful to somebody where someone feels hurt by your actions, whether you've done something accidentally or intentionally. Your role in something, it really can make an impact towards how the rest of it will play out. if you're able to kind of identify what you've done wrong, it might take a bit of thinking, you might have to have a discussion with some friends just to get another perspective. You can identify, what you have done or what you can improve on. And just being able to sit down and take a step back and see what you've done, you can turn a situation in which everything's gone wrong. I wish I hadn't done this, I wish I'd done that. There's always going to be cases like that. But the moment that you can think about, okay, this has gone wrong, it's happened, I've made a mistake, I've stuffed up, what can I actually do about it? What can I learn from it? So next time I am put in that situation, I can actually move forward from it. So it takes us from the frame of, I guess, helplessness to giving us the action or the power to be able to do something about it. So it takes us from this, frame of, basically feeling useless to, I actually have some control over myself and some control over my actions, which I can use for next time. So yes, what's happened has happened. We can't change it, but we do have the power, we do have the strength, the opportunity to learn from what's happened and potentially use it for something in the future. Now, obviously, there will be cases in which some things we can't control, some things in which it's completely out of our power, and that's basically where we have to make a decision. The decision is, are we going to be sad about it, or are we going to accept what's happened and move forward from there? So if, you can sit here and wallow, or we can just say, all right, I want to move forward and go from there. So that'll actually bring us to the second step. You might be thinking, well, how do I just accept this terrible thing has happened and just move on and be okay with it? Well, like I said, there's two frames of mind. You can either be sad about it, wallow about it, or be okay with what's happened. Now, I'm not asking you to, force yourself to put a smile on your face or pretend like this has never happened. But the second step is something quite simply, just that it's gratitude. And to be, gracious about something, it's something in which we take a step back and we reflect. A lot of people like to, call this, at least it could have been like this, at least this didn't happen. For the purposes of this video, just missing this flight for myself, I could have quite easily on the way over fell and hurt myself. I could have broken a wheel on my suitcase. I could have come to this hotel and I could have been fully booked. I could have been walking over, it could have been raining. I could have been, harassed by someone on the way over, but, I've got a hotel room. It's pretty much free of charge. It's a pretty nice room. It's warm in here, which is cool. I've got a bed to sleep on, which is nice. And, I was fully expecting, I'll just have to sit at the airport and just try to sleep there for the night. But, I'm thankful that, I've got a room to sleep in. It doesn't cost me anything. I got home. I've got a phone to use that I can, call some friends on and just have a chat for whatever reasons and have a bit of a laugh about everything. And, I'm not sick. I'm feeling pretty healthy, and what thing's going to happen is I'll go home tomorrow morning and my sleeping schedule's going to be a bit stuffed up. But that's pretty much the end of it. There's nothing really terrible, life-threatening or life-changing in a negative way that has really happened to me. It's just, minor inconveniences. And for the sake of, everything that has happened, whether it be I've made some bad decisions this weekend in which has really, negatively influenced me, or I've had a bit of a falling out with some people, in the end, I'm still me. I'm still sitting here, I'm still able to be myself, and I'm able to, again, learn from these things and improve myself for whatever situations do occur in the future. Obviously, I'll have to make up for anything that I have made a mistake on, but the fact that I've got the ability, I've got the chance to be able to do so, I'm still breathing, I'm still living, I've still got two eyes, two hands to do my craft with. It just makes me feel so thankful that I've got the opportunity to do so. And it's just being able to do that, just being able to think that, wow, I can still do all these things despite everything that's happened, it really doesn't make everything bad that's happened feel so bad. So that's pretty much the second mindset shift, just being grateful, being thankful for the things that I do have rather than, thinking about all the things that have gone wrong. I've literally thought about all the things that have gone right for me, and I can't be happier just that those things have happened. And the third and final mindset shift that can really swap everything from negative to positive is quite literally thinking, is this actually going to matter a year from now? And quite literally, it probably won't. Whatever things that you have, if you do have a falling out with a friend, if they are good friends, if they are people who are going to mean something in your life, you should and you will have that opportunity to have another talk to them and sort things out, because that's what friends do. You'll be able to talk to each other, you'll be able to listen to each other, you'll be able to work something out. And if not, then maybe it's a friendship that wasn't meant to be. And same thing with this flight is, spending an extra $200 on a flight to come down for a convention going to matter a year from now? Probably not. I feel happy and grateful that I'm in a situation which, it makes my wallet feel a lot lighter, but I'm happy that I've got the opportunity to actually be able to do things like this. And, I think, is it going to matter a year from now? Probably not. And quite literally a year from now, I'll probably look back on the situation and say, was this time I went down to Sydney and all these things happened and this was terrible, this was terrible, and this was terrible. And it is quite literally just going to be a really cool story to tell. And that is really what life's all about. Having just fun experiences, bad experiences to tell, because life's just all about those ups and downs. If it was just constantly, at this high, it won't actually feel like anything meaningful, because you haven't had anything to compare it to, because life will go up and down, and you'll know what a low situation is because you've had those high situations before as well. And because you have those ups and downs, you'll feel really grateful for when good things happen, and when bad things happen, you'll be able to also, again, like in a situation like this, be able to think, well, a bad situation will pass. I'll be able to laugh at it from now, and I'll be able to laugh at it a year from now. And I could probably also learn something from this. Sorry, it's so that's a 3-step process in which you can really turn a negative situation into something actually quite positive and even something funny. Firstly, you think about, instead of thinking, why does this happen to me? You think, what can I learn from this? Second thing is just, instead of thinking about everything that's gone wrong, think about the things that you can actually be grateful for. And the third thing is just asking yourself the question, is this actually going to matter a year from now? Because, again, in a year from now, it's really just going to be a cool story that you can tell in the adventure and facet that is your life, that you're going to be able to tell, and it's going to be something you can actually look back at and laugh at. So hopefully you've managed to get something out of this video. It's something that's, it's not a process that I had naturally, but it's something that I learned, and it's something that I developed for myself as time has gone on, to the point in which there are very, very few situations which can really, really get me down for an extended period of time. I'm not saying, I never get sad, I never have bad moments, because I do, and these things have happened, but I keep these things in mind, and a negative situation is never very negative for long, and it can be reframed into something quite positive over time. So hopefully, this video has been of value to you, and you can use it in your own daily life for whatever you need to use it for. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for listening if you've made it this far. Obviously, I'll have more videos to come out soon, hopefully a lot more cosplay related, but I'll keep those videos posted as soon as I can. But thanks for watching. Appreciate your support, and I'll see you again in another video very soon. Bye for now.